When Joel came on originally, he told me this story when Twitter banned the Babylon Bee, and then Elon gave you guys a call. When you heard that Elon wanted to talk to you, was that the first time you ever talked to Elon? Or could you maybe recount your side of this whole story of Twitter banning you guys and then Elon bringing you back? I'd love to hear your kind of version of that whole story, because I heard it kind of from Joel, but I'd love to hear yours. Your kind of version of this story, because it's wild.
All right, let me give you the true story.
Okay.
I know you've heard Joel's side, but I'll give you the real story, man.
Thank you.
No, like we posted that joke, the Rachel Levine joke, and I think it didn't even get flagged by Twitter. Like it didn't even get it. Just it was just another one of the jokes we wrote that week. And then we reposted it because we'll repost our jokes over the weekend to kind of fill in some of the content gaps on the weekend. So the repost of the joke somehow got flagged as hate speech or whatever. And that one is the one that got us banned. And then, of course, they wanted us to delete it. And if we deleted it, we could get back into our account. And we said, well, we're not going to do that. And it wasn't, from my perspective, and I don't know exactly what Joel told you, but from my perspective, there was no grand plan here. Like, oh, we're going to post this joke, get banned, and then say we're not going to delete it, and we'll make all these waves, and then Elon is going to buy Twitter. This is our grand business
plan, right?
Yes. And it was just a, like, these are our beliefs, and I think to all of us there was an issue of conscience. Like if we delete this tweet, we're going back on our beliefs. Like we're violating who we are and what we believe, and we're not going to do that. And so it just kind of became this comedy of errors, or this like random thing where, so Elon messaged us on Twitter and was like, "Are you guys banned?" like a few days later, I don't know if I don't remember if he just hadn't seen our posts in a while or like whatever, but ended up calling. I think then he ended up DMing me or something, because he couldn't DM the B he DM'd the B, but no one got back to him because we couldn't get into our account.
So dumb.
So then he DM'd me, then he called me, and just, we talked for a while. I don't remember, half hour, 40 minutes, something like that. And it was just a lot of chit chat, like just talking about, how woke things are getting, and you watching anything good on Netflix, and, that kind of stuff. And then it, basically through that conversation, he was, we talked about free speech and the B getting banned, and he was very, very clearly concerned about the free speech thing. And it was about a week later that he announced he was buying Twitter. I think he had already, if you look at like the filings, he had already maybe filed to purchase part of Twitter. And he was just doing some information gathering and trying to see where things stood on the free speech stuff. But it was clearly like that the Babylon Bee clearly played some kind of part in that, whether we were the main catalyst or not. Elon is to be credited as the one who stepped up and like said, you know what, I'm going to take care of this. Which is just such a cool thing.
Did you already know that Elon was a fan of the Bee? Did you already know that he liked your guys' content before he reached out to you guys? Or was this kind of like, oh, we had no idea Elon, liked us this much?
He had replied to a few articles with like a laughing emoji. So it had kind of become a thing. Like, wow, this is weird. Elon's interacting with our content,
Yeah.
This is strange. And then we had interviewed him. I think we had interviewed him prior to this.
Okay.
So he had come on our podcast randomly. And so we knew he was a fan of the Bee. We interviewed him with like 2-hour interview. It's on YouTube still. You can go check out. And then he and then we did, but it's not like we were like in constant contact with him. We had interviewed him one time, and then it was months later that this happened, and he reached out. So it had helped that we had built a little bit of a relationship with him, and he felt some kind of affinity for us, and was obviously pretty pissed that they had banned us.
Sure. Yeah, that story, when Joel told it to me, dude, and I appreciate you giving me the true version, because Joel just lied the whole time,
It's
like
true.
he does. So I appreciate you clearing that up for everyone.
Yeah, I always have to clean up his messes for sure. So
I appreciate that. And when Elon messaged you, were you just like and Elon called you, you had already met Elon. So it wasn't kind of like this is wild. Or was it still kind of like, hey, honey, I'm just going to go talk to Elon Musk real quick. No big deal. Or is it kind of like a surreal moment for you?
It was definitely surreal, because when we had met him at the interview, it was like none of us had really talked to him. It was like an email back and forth, and sure, I'll do this interview and come to this spot and we'll do it. And then we sat down and talked with him on camera. But you're on camera, you're like, so Elon, what's going on with the next rocket? Like it's not this personal thing. And we chatted with him for a while after, and he seemed very personable. But then he left, and it was like we didn't really talk to him for a while after that. So then me, like I'm not even the CEO of I'm the editor in chief. So it's like, oh, he should probably call Seth. But for some reason, he had seen me, pop up as one of the guys, and he had remembered me from the interview. So he DM'd me, and I'm like, I'm introverted. I'm not the big, face of the company guy going out there like, yeah, look at me, So it's like I get this thing like, oh, I'm going to call you in a few minutes, and you're like, oh shoot, like I don't know how to talk to somebody on the phone, let alone the richest guy in the world. So it was definitely nerve-wracking.
That's awesome.
But he's just a normal dude. Like you just like, again, you start and talk to him, it's surreal, but he's just, just talking about video games and Netflix shows.
And next thing you know, he buys Twitter. And I heard this to be true. I don't know. And I think you guys were one of the first action items that he did when he bought Twitter was unbanning you guys, right?
Yeah. Washington Post says that when he walked in the door, that one of the first things he said was free the Babylon Bee, which is pretty dang cool. I mean, that's like a little feather in the cap, I guess. But again, not any kind of business plan from our end. Call it a God thing,
Yeah. Well, it shows the power of comedy too. I mean, when you can make someone laugh and someone really appreciate your comedy, I mean, you have a fan for life.